Good morning and welcome to the NBA Daily for June 12th, 2025. I'm Dave DuFour here with Zena Keita and Baraheni. Coming up, the Pacers take a 2-1 lead in the NBA Finals. We're going to break down Game 3 and look ahead to what the Thunder need to do in Game 4 to respond. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, guys. Another great NBA Finals game in the books. One of the best games of the playoffs. I had an incredible time watching it. Number one, the game was on speed. I mean, we were just flying up and down the court all night long. Not a lot of three-pointers. Both teams attacking the paint. I mean, this was before we even talk about what happened. I mean, this was just a fun basketball game. Like I really just had a fun time watching it.
When I watch the games, I take notes on my iPad, in my written iPad. Yeah. And first note that I wrote down today, game starts super physical and super fast. And the first thing that I noted was that foul on SGA against Nembhard, the offensive foul to start the game. So you knew that Indiana was going to immediately want to impose their will defensively in this game from the jump, literally from tip of how Nembhard was trying to disrupt SGA. And so it was just fun to see, okay, but this is Indiana, as the t-shirt said, all around the arena. They're trying to show up, and they did.
Yeah, they gave up the yes sirs. They gave up the yes sirs shirts, and they leaned in on Indiana.
I think after you saw the Lucha guy in OKC and his chest says no sirs, you probably just have to come up with a new logo.
No, you're right.
You got to pivot.
Hey, to your point about the incredible game, 9 lead changes in this one, and it was back and forth throughout. The way that both teams kind of answered the blows that each other threw at each other was awesome. There's a lot of parts to this game that we can get into, but it was just truly one of the best playoff games that we watched this season.
Well, the story of the game and the stars of the game, the Indiana Pacers bench, T.J. McConnell, Ben Mathurin, Obi Toppin in that second quarter really they won the game there. The Pacers, it was their best quarter of the finals. They put up 40 points, hold OKC to only 28, which they've struggled to do in some quarters, although we'll get to the fourth in a bit. But what did you like about the way that bench unit came out? We've talked about Obi Toppin being the fastball for them, but it's been a lot of his 3-point shooting. But in this game, he didn't hit a three, but he still was extremely effective.
Yeah, look, energy is a really big cliche to bring here. But I think one of the most important parts about what both T.J. McConnell and Ben Mathurin do incredibly well for the Pacers is get into the paint. They are great at driving the basketball. And while Haliburton is more of an east-west guy and Siakam is more of a post-up kind of prod and kind of slowly get inside guy, McConnell darts inside. Mathurin bullies his way inside. And they needed that to kind of churn their offense a little bit. And to the energy point, I think McConnell started the second quarter with 2 straight inbound steals. And Mathurin got a couple of and ones, and that got the crowd going. Indiana's crowd, by the way, was incredible. I mean, matched, I'm imagining, what OKC did in game 1 and game 2. And look, that type of performance from your bench. I also thought Ben Shepherd was pretty good in this game, just as a guy who was playing defense for them. So they got contributions from everybody off of the bench. McConnell and Mathurin, though, kind of keeping things going, making the offense hum for Indiana.
Yeah.
I'm looking at that
the free throw line too.
Yeah. I'm looking at that second quarter box score for the bench. Ben Mathurin plus 10, Obi Toppin plus 11, TJ McConnell plus 15. Now, the funny thing is that Obi Toppin in that second quarter actually did not score. He didn't do anything but get 1 rebound and 1 assist. But what you saw him consistently doing is putting pressure on Miles Turner, and particularly just being a good second big out there. It's funny, at the top of the second quarter, OKC went big, double big. And it worked for like 2 minutes, and Dagnall was like, no, we got to switch this out. And immediately you see Aaron Wiggins come in for Hartenstein. And literally it's because, one, Obi Toppin was running, darting in for just cuts. Just for diversion movement, right? Just to occupy space and occupy defenders. He was doing such a good job of doing that. Him alongside Nesmith, those first few buckets, you think about McConnell, dribbling, getting behind the defense, as Dave and I talked about with Scott Agnes, and then Nesmith cuts to the basket. It was just that sort of movement that was so impactful from the bench. And then on top of the fact that Mathurin kept putting the ball in the basket, and McConnell was getting fouled as well with 4 for 4 in that quarter as well from the free throw line.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the Pacers' energy, because it's on both ends, right? We talk about how fast they play on offense.
Yeah.
Their defense was excellent in this game. Aaron Nesmith and Andrew Nembhard picked up 11 fouls between the two of them, and they earned every single one of them. And by the time we got to the fourth quarter, the Thunder looked exhausted. I mean, watching the game, you see that even I think Doris Burke highlighted it. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, you never see him not moving on defense. And he was just paused in the corner with his hands on his knees on a defensive play. I mean, it really is getting to a point where this is clearly part of their strategy. We're going to wear you down 94 feet, and we're going to force you to take shots that are tough every single possession. And with the way that Rick Carlisle is using his bench, he's just keeping his guys fresher down the stretch.
Yeah, man. I mean, credit to Rick Carlisle again, because he's just finding the right buttons to push for this team defensively. I thought it was interesting because they were really aggressive with Miles Turner in the pick and roll, kind of keeping him at the level to make sure Shai was getting the ball out to other guys and whatnot. And at first I was like, man, Miles Turner is struggling in space. He had a huge fourth quarter for them, though, with massive block shots. And I also thought from that aggression at the point of attack, Haliburton was aggressive. He had 3 stocks in this game, 2 steals, 1 block. Pascal Siakam had a couple of steals and a block as well. So on the help side, they were active on their rotations. And to your part, when you have Nembhard and Mathurin, and honestly, I thought Mathurin was pretty good in this one too, Nembhard and Nesmith, being good at the point of attack, just solid at guarding Shai, making things tough on J-Dub, you're allowed to be a little bit more aggressive on the backside, and that's why Indiana's defense was able to be so successful tonight. It was an awesome, awesome execution from them.
And I want to give a lot of credit to Tyrese Haliburton as well for the energy, because I feel as if he was dictating that energy. I particularly am thinking of that one block that I believe he had on Jalen Williams that got called a foul, where he had his full hand on the back of Jalen Williams and got on top of the ball. And right after that play, he's like bouncing around the court. And it was, I feel like from that play on, he was like, we feel good. We feel fresh. Let's go after them. And he allowed his game to be dictated by his defense before it was his offense. And that really was kind of a shift in the game for me.
Once Haliburton starts bouncing around, you know something's happening, right? Like, you know that he's got some energy. And the truth is, time to talk about Haliburton. I mean, I thought that he just, we have talked quite a bit about, one game to the next with Haliburton. You never know what you're going to get, right? Some games he's super aggressive. Some games he's not. And the talk for the last couple of days around him has been, hey, look, what are you doing in the first half? Why are you saving it all? I mean, we mentioned he had 7 shots in game 2 through 3 quarters, then goes 5 of 6 in the fourth quarter. How come you don't spread that energy out a little bit more and maybe put some more points on the board? And come to game 3, he does that. He was much more aggressive to start the game. He had a great third quarter when the Pacers have kind of struggled to score. They've leaned on Pascal Siakam maybe a little bit too much in those third quarters, and that kept them afloat, kept them in the lead. What do you guys think about Haliburton? I mean, obviously he scored, but he also, I thought he was more aggressive making plays too.
What's interesting is that Haliburton actually didn't get his first shot off until 6 minutes were remaining in the first quarter. Yeah. And you got a little concerned about what you're saying, Dave. Like, is this going to happen again? Is he going to have another slow start? But what you saw that was more emphasized in this game than we've seen in the first 2 is the give and go action. He kept passing the ball up and getting it right back, or finding himself in a position in which he could get it back. He did that give and go action with Miles Turner. He would do the give and go action with Nembhard. He would pass it up to Nembhard, or it would almost be forced out of his hands, where OKC was getting Nembhard to be the person to be open on the inbounds, so that he had to push it up, which is fine. You want a Tyrese Haliburton in those off-ball actions, being able to come towards the ball, being able to come off of screens towards the ball. And so that was like, okay, he's not exerting as much energy, trying to get the ball up the court or trying to get something going offensively. But once he got that first shot off, you started to see him pick up, and it was like, yes, okay, he's going to try some more things earlier in this game. And again, I think his defense actually was more of his fire, his spark in this game that led to more offense out of him.
Yeah, he was getting to that floater a lot easier.
Yeah,
in
the
this
running
game
floater
too.
too.
The running floater kind of got him going offensively.
Shout out to Jared Weiss,
himself.
who wrote about the Pacers looking for a way to get him to that floater over at the Athletics.
Yeah.
Great piece that he wrote yesterday.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like, I actually think they did do a lot of the stuff that Jared mentioned. One of those things is keeping him off ball more often. And to your point, Zena, on the catch, grabbing it on the catch and going. They had this inverted pick and roll between Pascal Siakam and Tyrese Haliburton that helped Siakam get downhill. So just trying different things, not being afraid to move Haliburton off the ball so he can get downhill more frequently, attack closeouts. The floater went, and then he started to get into a step back three bag, and then the space opened up for him to operate in the pick and roll more often. That's the type of Haliburton you need if this Pacers team wants to win the NBA Finals, which is crazy to say.
He much more aggressive on ball fakes, right? Like when Haliburton is feeling good, he will
at the top.
He will ball fake often. I mean, you see, he picks up a foul like late in the game, or at least they didn't call a foul. But when he's feeling good, he starts to ball fake before he shoots. For the Thunder, look, this is a rough one. You're going to look and you say, "Wow, we get 70 from our big three. Why didn't we win this game?" The turnovers, the Thunder for the second time this whole postseason lose the turnover battle. It's the most turnovers that they had in a single game this postseason. They were throwing the ball all over the place. I mean, that's the only way we could put it. It was out of character.
Yeah.
They've only had more turnovers than tonight once in the regular season. One single time where they had 20. And so, like, this is obviously out of the ordinary for the Thunder, but I do want to credit the Pacers defense because I thought they were really good at pressuring them, at forcing them into tough decisions. OKC
Aaron
did play a little sloppy.
Could not be screened in this game.
Absolutely. Oh, man. He was
looked like
moving.
an NFL running back cutting through the tackles. I mean, he was incredible.
Yeah, and I look at this and I say, okay, look, who was the main culprit for the turnovers for OKC? SGA, 6 turnovers. Jalen Williams, 4 turnovers. Those are your 2 main ball handlers. And to me, that's, kind of what it looks like in the pick and roll and the pressure that Indiana was applying and the decisions that the Thunder just couldn't make off of those reads. Is OKC going to have a game like this where they're this careless with the ball again? Maybe not. But I think Indiana has found something defensively to at least bother them and make it a little bit more difficult for them to even up the math battle, if you will.
Earlier in the game, I credit Indiana for not falling apart when that high ball screen was just tearing them up.
Cooking. Yeah.
Ooh, I mean, Shai, Lou, Grayson, whoever wanted to come off that ball screen, come with Chet Holmgren, they were having their way. It was Olay. Yeah. They were just getting to the bucket. And I just thought, okay, Indiana this might be it for them. Like, I don't know how they're going to have to shoot their way out of this. They're going to have to find a way to combat this because it's too easy for OKC. And they stepped it up. And then you saw different varieties of defense, but particularly Nesmith got in there and was so hard to guard. Andrew Nembhard was basically running a box and one. And they got into that zone that actually they were doing pretty well in with the zone too. So I just really credit Indiana for not giving up when OKC was finding their lanes to get into the paint and get to the rack. But yeah, it was some really tough, gritty defense from Indiana tonight.
Chad had a great first quarter, by the way, and it's this 2 games in a row that he's gotten off to a good start. I thought he capitalized on that good start. Again, puts up 20. I mean, the reason the Thunder lost this game isn't because of the big 3 not scoring. It's the turnovers and then nobody else really. You get 4 threes out of Lou Dort and basically no production from the rest of your bench, and that's tough to overcome.
Can I ask you guys a quick question about this? So if you're OKC right now and you're looking forward to the next game, do you say, well, we turned the ball over in an uncharacteristic fashion and they got 49 points from their bench, we should be okay? Or do the alarm bells ring? Do you feel worried about the fact that you lost this game despite shooting 45% and
I think you got these
epic? Yeah.
I mean, look, The Thunder need to win the games when they shoot like this, right? Like they're not the best shooting team in this series. I mean, they have shot better than the Pacers have in the series so far, but overall, I think the Pacers, like, we expect them to shoot the ball better than they did in game 2, right? And they did.
Yeah.
The Thunder really need these games where they have some hot shooting. I mean, there's a point in which maybe, they work themselves into a little bit of a math problem. You only put up 22 threes and maybe you need more. You were shooting the ball, like they were shooting the ball extremely well. They just weren't getting the attempts up. I mean, you could kind of say the same for the Pacers, but the Pacers don't necessarily play a 3-point game. And I think OKC, if they're going to lose the turnover battle, they need to hit more threes to compensate for that, right? Like otherwise they just don't have the bench production to kind of make up for it.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm thinking the alarm bells are ringing because yes, even though you could say the bench for Indiana, I don't want to say uncharacteristically, but at least in this series were uncharacteristically superb. Obi Toppin was awesome in that first game, but fell off with that 3-point game in game 2, comes back and makes an impact. But particularly you're looking at Ben Mathurin and the impact that T.J. McConnell had. You're like, we don't know if we can count on that, but guess what?
Right. Are we getting that again?
Yeah. Are we getting that again? If maybe you can feel a little bit of confidence if you're thinking OKC, if you are OKC, but I'm looking at the fact that Miles Turner did not have a good game offensively. Right. He was really off, not only from his outside shot, but particularly where he usually finds success inside the paint. He can get back to that capability. And you know who else can? The person that cooked you and got you to that win, or Indiana to that win in the first game, Andrew Nembhard. Who also was so preoccupied with the defense that he was playing, he didn't have a great offensive game. Yeah. And so I'm looking like, even if the bench simmers down for Indiana, I'm concerned about the people that are starting. And if they re-find at home, feeling good, up 2-1, if they find their game in game 4.
All right, guys, stick around after the break. We're going to look ahead to that game 4 and give our expectations. Okay, we've got a short turnaround for game 4, Friday nights. What do you expect?
Oh, well, the fact that it's a short turnaround is actually kind of interesting here, right? It's been 2 days off for every team. And now, I don't know, Shai played 42 minutes. Now, let's be real.
Look tired at the end of the
Thunder
game.
do look a little tired, but at the same time, they are a wildly young team. Like, they should be okay.
And they're in Indianapolis.
Back.
Nobody's going out.
Right. Yeah. And it's not like there's some altitude issue in Indianapolis. You got flat land. You know what I mean? It's not a problem there. I don't know. I think the thing I'm looking at here for game 4 is, how do these game 4s typically play out? Right. Yeah. The underdog, quote unquote, stole game 3. Right. And they did it on their home court. Now the pressure is sort of off of them. So do they come out playing a little loose, playing a little uncharacteristic, like not playing the same brand of basketball that they played in game 3? Or do they kill them? Do they,
it's funny.
You know what I mean?
It's funny because the Pacers have done this, right? Like we saw them do this against the Knicks, where we thought that they had a chance to finish them off in game 5. Yeah. And they came out kind of flat. I mean, Zena, look, the Pacers, they're in the finals now, but we've seen them not win the games that they're supposed to win. And we've seen them make some of those wins that they're supposed to get just crazy. So, I mean, my expectations are all over the place for this next game. I mean, the Thunder, obviously, coming off a loss, we saw what they just did off of a loss. We've seen what they've done all year. Usually they come out and stomp teams. I don't know. What do you think, Zena? What are the vibes for you?
Well, first, I will say the Thunder have played better when there's less time between games. Right. I feel like they want to get right.
True.
Right
that
to
is
it.
True.
Right.
Yeah.
So this might actually be a benefit for them to be able to, let's look at the tape. Let's get right back on the court, as opposed to like dragging it on. And as you mentioned, they are young, so they could bounce back really nicely. Either way, I feel like Indiana is improving, and they're going to look at that Knicks series and they're going to see like, yo, we should have handled that. We should have been done with that. They should have been packed up, sent them off, bought their summer tickets to wherever, Cancun, Cabo, wherever. We should have done that earlier in that series. And sure, we made a lot of people a lot of money, but we also we dug ourselves a hole that we should not have been in.
Yeah.
And I think that they're going to learn that lesson from that series and say, let's take care of OKC because we have all the momentum right now.
Yeah.
And if anything, as you mentioned, they're the underdog.
Yeah.
Right. That's even more incendiary for them to get going. Just like, let's use that and this energy that you're seeing out of Gamebridge Fieldhouse, and let's go ahead and go up 3-1. Now let's put the pressure on them. We did our jobs. Everybody said it's going to be done in 5. It's already automatically at least 6.
Yep.
If OKC wants to be in this. So I do hope that they come out with a fire under them and a spark under them to at least get game 4. I think that I think is possible.
Playing with house money and just win. Now, if they go up 3-1, it's more than likely than not that they're going to win the finals. Zena, are you changing your pick here? Wow. The Pacers are causing us a crisis of faith in the Oklahoma City Thunder. They are making me question everything.
We talked about how well matched this team is, right? Like, and not necessarily that they're even. It's just that the things that they're really good at play well off of against each other, right? But we're now seeing Indiana, like I said, they have improved. I love when I think it was S that said this a while ago. I can't remember about what team, but he talked about it's like AI, right? Like the more information you feed it, they get better.
I was saying that about OKC. Funny enough.
Really? Okay. Interestingly enough. Well, I feel like Indiana is doing that right now, and that they are literally evolving as time goes on. And they became OKC on defense tonight. They were in passing lanes. They were disrupting rhythm. They were doing all these things that I'm now like, okay, I don't even know if we saw real Pacers offense tonight, like their normal level of production, because obviously OKC defense is great, but you match you match Indiana offense with them feeling comfortable, them being up 2-1, them being at home with the defense that they have now amoeba'd into themselves in this series. I don't know.
The belief is there now. And you know what? The Pacers have the coaching advantage in this series right now. Rick Carlisle is cooking in terms of what buttons he's pushing at the right time, what lineups he's going to, what he thinks a game requires, live action. He is doing it all now.
Just think about this. Miles Turner, awful game. We've seen him bench Miles Turner for Obi Toppin to close games. That was my expectation in game 3 was, hey, Obi Toppin's been great out there. Miles Turner's had a rough run of it. I bet we're going to see Obi Toppin closing, and look at what he does. He goes with Miles Turner, and it wound up being the right move. I mean, Miles Turner made a couple of huge plays that Obi Toppin probably doesn't make. Right. Yeah.
By the way, that Obi Toppin offensive rebound dunk. I mean, my goodness, amazing. That was incredible. He play after play. You credit the players, but the coach is also putting them in a position.
Picking the guys that are for the moment. I mean, this is the one thing that we can actually point to the coaches do, right? They chose the guys on the court, and however that plays out, we got to give them some modicum of credit at some point. But Zena, can we just agree that like kind of on the same page here?
Whoever wins game 4 is going to win the series. Can we agree there?
No, because if the Pacers win game 4, I think they win the series. But if the Thunder win, we got a best 2 out of 3, and I've seen what the Pacers have.
Okay, I'm going to say that.
I think this is going to go 7. I think it's going to go 7. Too. I'm rooting for it to go 7, selfishly.
That would be awesome.
But
yeah. And for what it's worth, I think it is time. We say this, and I'm going to speak for the entire media landscape. Indiana, we were wrong. We were wrong. And I'm sorry.
Though. Well, no, I'm stopping you.
We were wrong. We doubted their ability. We didn't doubt that these would be close games.
It's not over yet. It's not over yet,
right.
Zena. We got to save our apologies.
But I'm saying, I guess I'll say this. I was wrong.
This is how much
I was wrong.
No, you weren't. Really believe. No, you weren't. We're leaning in. We all said OKC in 6.
We did.
We gave them 6
OKC in 5.
Still might be 6. That.
I said
Zena
OKC in
didn't
5, so
believe.
I was very
That's
wrong.
actually what it is.
I was very wrong. What it is that I didn't know that Indiana was going to be this good at closing out games.
Yeah.
And I should have learned that from obviously the Knicks series.
Yeah.
But I put too much faith in the OKC defense. I put too much faith in the OKC production and also Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and just, him having to carry it all on his own. I put too much faith in that. And I have to say, I'm going to put it out there. My bad, Indiana. I did not give y'all enough credit.
Zena's the only one apologizing. I want to be clear here because if it's still Thunder and 6,
no apologies on my side.
Yeah, that's right. That's going to do it for the show. Guys, we got the morning shoot around coming up. Go and check it out on YouTube. It'll stream live. Obviously, it's been hitting the podcast feed, and we appreciate the feedback on that. People seem to enjoy the longer format where we have, we're going to hit some topics. We're going to talk about the Knicks and their desperate search for a coach.
They're
basically
Kevin
sending
Durant
you
trades.
up texts to every single team in the league trying to.
I would be mad if my coach didn't get a call. Just want to put
think
that
about
out
what
there.
that means, right? Like if you go down that list and you start getting, how come we haven't? Got to start questioning it. Anyway, for Zena Keita and Baraheni, I'm Dave DuFour, and this has been the NBA Daily. Thanks for waking up with us.